Captain Tom stood at the podium, his small frame barely visible above its curved surface. The massive chamber of the Galactic Council stretched before him, filled with representatives from 100 worlds. Most of them towered over his 4-foot height, and he could already hear the familiar whispers and poorly hidden snickers. The Valerian Defense Force has detected unusual energy signatures from the outer rim, he said, his voice steady despite the growing murmurs. Our long-range scanners suggest a large fleet gathering beyond the dark nebula. We believe this represents a significant threat to Council space. A thunderous laugh erupted from the Kroll representative, a massive being whose muscled frame filled an entire hover chair designed for 3. The tiny ones see threats in shadows now. Perhaps they mistook a trading convoy for an invasion fleet. More laughter followed. Tom's antenna twitched in frustration, but he maintained his composure. The holographic display behind him showed detailed sensor readings and probability calculations. Our technology is among the most advanced in Council space. These readings, advanced, interrupted the Kroll. Like those toy ships you call a defense fleet. The ones we could crush in our hands if we wanted to. The council chamber filled with more laughter. Tom noticed how even the council leader, who should maintain neutrality, was hiding a smile behind their ceremonial mask. Back in the Valerian observation room, First Officer Mike watched the feed with clenched fists. Their species might be small, but their minds were sharp. The Valerians had developed technologies that most council races could barely understand. Their ships might be compact, but they carried enough firepower to defend their borders for centuries. Tom continued his presentation, cycling through evidence that his best analysts had spent months gathering. The energy signatures match no known council race. The pattern suggests weapons being charged on a massive scale. We estimate at least 300 capital ships. 300 ships that even a Valerian can see, mocked another representative. They must be planet-sized. Or perhaps, added the Kroll, they're normal ships that look huge to such tiny eyes. Tom felt his antenna droop slightly, but he forced them upright. He had served in the Defense Force for 20 years, commanded ships through 3 major conflicts, and earned every medal his people could give. Yet here he stood, being laughed at like a child. We request the Council send a joint scouting force to investigate, he said, raising his voice over the continuing chuckles. The Valerian Defense Force will provide our most advanced stealth ships for the mission. Stealth ships. The Kroll representative leaned forward, his massive frame casting a shadow over 3 rows of seats. You mean those little pods you call warships? The ones that look like escape capsules from a real vessel? Our ships are fully capable, Tom started, of hiding. Someone shouted from the back, triggering another wave of laughter. The council leader finally raised a hand for silence. Captain Tom, while we appreciate the Valerian concern, the council has more pressing matters to discuss. The trade dispute between the Kroll Empire and the Marvonian Collective requires our immediate attention. Tom looked down at his data pad, containing years of research, technological advancement, and genuine concern for the safety of council space. All dismissed because his people didn't meet some arbitrary standard of physical intimidation. Very well, he said quietly. The Valerian Defense Force will continue our monitoring of the situation. We hope the Council will remember this warning. As he stepped down from the podium, more laughter followed him. He heard someone comment about needing a magnifier to see him leave. In the observation room, Mike was already preparing their next steps. If the Council wouldn't listen, the Valerians would need to find help elsewhere. Their long-range explorers had recently detected promising signals from an unexplored system, where a species called humans dwelled. Perhaps there, they might find someone who would look past physical size and see the true measure of a civilization's worth. Tom left the council chamber with his head held high. Let them laugh. The Valerians hadn't survived this long by letting the opinions of others determine their worth. They would find a way to face whatever was coming from the outer rim, with or without the council's help. They just needed to find the right allies. The Valerian scout ship emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Captain Tom stood on the bridge, his antenna twitching with anticipation as he studied the blue-green planet on the main screen. Earth. After 3 months of careful observation from afar, they were finally close enough for detailed scans. "What do you make of their defenses, First Officer Mike?" Tom asked, noting how the humans had scattered satellites and space stations around their planet like a protective web. Mike adjusted the scanner settings. Primitive by Council standards, but clever. They've positioned their defense systems to cover blind spots. They're thinking in 3 dimensions, not just placing everything in obvious orbits. The bridge crew worked quietly, each member focused on their tasks. They were the smallest ship in the Valerian fleet, but also the most advanced. Perfect for this mission. "Sir," called out the sensor operator, "I'm detecting something interesting." Their communication channels are full of discussions about space exploration and alien life. They're actively looking for other civilizations. Tom smiled. Most species they encountered either feared the unknown or wanted to conquer it. These humans seemed different. "Show me their recent history," he ordered. The main screen filled with images from Earth's data networks. Tom watched as humans overcame their physical limitations through invention after invention. They couldn't fly, so they built planes. They couldn't survive underwater, so they created submarines. When something seemed impossible, they found a way to make it possible. "They're like us," Mike said quietly. "Always building, always improving." Alert flashed on the tactical display. A human space station had spotted them despite their cloaking technology. Instead of panic or aggression, the humans were broadcasting a simple mathematical sequence. Prime numbers, a universal sign of intelligence. "They're inviting contact," Tom realized. "Prepare the first contact protocols. Let's do this properly." The Valerian ship decloaked, maintaining a respectful distance from Earth's space station. The humans responded by clearing all weapons from their nearby platforms. A gesture of peace. "Incoming transmission," announced the communications officer. They're broadcasting in multiple formats: audio, video, and basic mathematical codes. The main screen activated, showing a human woman in a blue uniform. Despite being nearly twice the height of a Valerian, her expression showed curiosity rather than superiority. "Unknown vessel, this is Commander Anna of the International Space Station. Welcome to Earth." Tom stepped forward. "Commander Anna, I am Captain Tom of the Valerian Defense Force. We come in peace, seeking dialogue." There was a brief pause as the translation systems worked. Then Commander Anna smiled. "Captain Tom, your arrival is historic. We have so many questions, but first, would you and your crew like to dock with our station? We can meet in person." The bridge crew looked at Tom. In all their experiences with other races, the size difference had always been the first topic of discussion, usually with mockery. But these humans didn't seem to care. "We would be honored," Tom replied. "Though I should mention that my species is smaller than yours." Commander Anna's smile didn't waver. "Captain, in the last century alone, we've learned that the smallest things in our universe, atoms, quantum particles, microprocessors, are often the most important. Size has nothing to do with value." As the Valerian ship carefully maneuvered toward the docking port, Tom felt something he hadn't experienced in years: hope. The humans weren't laughing. They weren't dismissing his people based on their size. They were looking at what the Valerians could do, not how tall they stood. "Sir," Mike said, checking the long-range sensors one last time, "the threat from the outer rim is still growing. The Council might not believe us, but do you think?" Tom watched as the human space station grew larger in their view. "Yes, Mike, I think we've just found exactly the allies we need. Sometimes the best friends are the ones who know what it's like to be underestimated." The docking clamps engaged with a gentle thud. History was about to be made. And for once, no one was laughing. 3 months after first contact, the Earth Orbital Defense Station buzzed with activity. In Lab Section 7, Captain Tom stood on a raised platform that brought him to eye level with Commander Anna. They both watched as human and Valerian engineers worked together on a new shield generator prototype. "Your people learn incredibly fast," Tom said, his antenna moving with excitement as a successful test sent ripples of blue energy across the testing chamber. "Most species take years to understand our technology." Anna smiled, making notes on her tablet. "And your people adapt so quickly to our way of thinking. It's like we're filling in each other's gaps." The shield generator was just one of many joint projects. Across the station, humans and Valerians worked side by side. Where humans brought raw creativity and outside-the-box solutions, Valerians provided advanced technical knowledge and precision engineering. "Look at this," Anna said, pulling up a holographic display. "Your AI systems combined with our neural interface designs. We could have pilots controlling ships with just their thoughts, reducing reaction time by 60%. Tom nodded, but his antenna drooped slightly. The Council would have never allowed such collaboration. They think AI is too dangerous to merge with organic minds. "The Council seems to think a lot of things," Anna replied, her voice carrying a hint of anger. "We've reviewed the data about the threat from the outer rim. They're fools to ignore it." In the next testing chamber, First Officer Mike was working with human engineers on a new type of stealth system. The humans had suggested using principles from their old submarine warfare, something no spacefaring race had thought to try before. "Silent running," Mike explained to his team. "Like your underwater vessels used to do. If we can adapt it to work in space, we could hide entire fleets," finished Jack, the human chief engineer, "even from advanced scanners." He didn't treat Mike any differently despite their height difference. If anything, he seemed to enjoy working at the smaller scale Valerians preferred. It led to more efficient designs. The station's alert system suddenly flashed yellow. "General Quarters," announced a calm voice. "Joint exercise beginning in 5 minutes. All personnel to assigned stations." Tom and Anna headed to the command center. Through the massive windows, they could see Earth's newest ships moving into formation alongside Valerian vessels. The size difference was striking. Human ships were large and robust, while Valerian ships were small and sleek. But together, they moved like a single unit. "Remember the first joint exercise?" Anna asked as they watched. "When everyone thought our ships wouldn't be able to coordinate." Tom laughed. "And now look at them. Your pilots fly like they were born in space, and our crews have learned your aggressive maneuvers." The exercise began. Ships darted through an asteroid field, practicing complex attack patterns. Human vessels provided heavy firepower, while Valerian ships slipped through gaps to strike from unexpected angles. It was a dance of giants and shadows, each complementing the other perfectly. "The Council reports say you've been wasting resources teaching primitives," Tom said quietly. "They're still laughing at us." Anna put a hand gently on the railing near Tom, a gesture of solidarity they'd developed. "Let them laugh. While they mock us, we grow stronger. Every day, we learn more from each other." On the main screen, a human destroyer successfully executed a Valerian cloaking maneuver, while a Valerian scout ship demonstrated a human-designed combat drill. The impossible was becoming routine. 6 more colonies have requested joint defense programs, Mike reported, joining them at the command console. "They've seen our results. Not everyone in the Council thinks we're a joke." Tom watched as another perfect formation moved past the window. In just 3 months, they'd accomplished what the Council had deemed impossible. Humans and Valerians weren't just working together. They were rewriting the rules of space warfare. "Send the training data to all allied colonies," Tom ordered. "It's time everyone learned that true strength isn't about size." He looked at the Earth hanging beautiful and blue in the background. "It's about finding the right partner to face the stars with." The exercise continued, each movement a testament to what could be achieved when prejudice was set aside and differences became strengths. The laughter of the council seemed very far away indeed. The emergency alert pierced through the quiet of the Galactic Council chamber. The same room that had once echoed with laughter at Captain Tom's warnings now filled with panicked voices. On the massive central display, red dots appeared one after another, marking fallen colonies. "The Dominion fleet has breached the outer defense line," announced a breathless messenger. The Krull battle group was completely destroyed. The council leader, no longer wearing their mask of superiority, gripped their podium. How many ships? Over 500 capital ships, each carrying smaller attack craft, exactly as the Valerian reports predicted 6 months ago. In the observation gallery, Tom and Commander Anna watched the chaos unfold. The mighty warrior races that had once mocked the Valerians now scramble to organize a defense. "Council worlds Kex and Yar have gone dark," reported another messenger. "The Dominion's weapons, they're like nothing we've seen before." Anna checked her tablet, coordinating with the joint human-Valerian fleet stationed near Earth. "Our deep space sensors are tracking their movement pattern. They're not just attacking, they're hunting. Hunting for the largest concentrations of ships," Tom added, his antenna twitching as he analyzed the data. "They're specifically targeting the warrior race's main battle groups." The council chamber erupted again as another alert sounded. The Marvonian collective, known for their massive dreadnoughts, had just lost their home system. The Dominion's smaller, faster ships had torn through their defenses like paper. "We need to evacuate the council," someone shouted. "The Dominion will reach this sector in days." Tom stepped forward, his small frame somehow commanding attention in the crisis. "The Human-Valerian Alliance offers sanctuary to any council members who wish to retreat to our protected space." The council leader turned, their massive form trembling slightly. "Your protected space, what can your tiny ships and primitive human allies do against this threat?" As if answering, the main display switched to a tactical feed. A joint human-Valerian task force was engaging the Dominion scout fleet near the Proxima colony. The humans' larger ships drew enemy fire, while Valerian vessels darted through the chaos, striking critical systems with surgical precision. "That's the third Dominion scout fleet we've destroyed," Anna reported calmly. "No casualties on our side." The council members watched in stunned silence. The same combination of ships they had laughed at was now their only effective defense against the invasion. "How?" asked the Krull representative, their usual arrogance replaced by desperate curiosity. "How are you stopping them?" "Because we learned to work together," Tom explained. "While you were laughing at our size, we were preparing. While you mocked humanity's primitive technology, we were combining our strengths." Another alert sounded. The Dominion's main fleet had changed course. They were now heading toward Earth and Valerian space. "They'd noticed our success," Anna said grimly. "We've got their attention." Tom's antenna straightened with determination. "Good. Let them come. We've been ready for them since the day I stood in this chamber and warned you all." The council leaders stepped down from their podium, approaching Tom and Anna. "The council. Bide, we were wrong. Will you help us?" "We'll help," Anna replied. "Not because you deserve it, but because that's what allies do." Tom nodded to his communication officer. "Send the evacuation coordinates to all council worlds, and launch Operation ShadowNet." As council members rushed to evacuate, a new kind of quiet fell over the chamber. The laughter was gone, replaced by the hum of urgent activity. On the main display, hundreds of small dots appeared. The combined human-Valerian defense fleet moving into position. The crisis had begun, but this time, no one was underestimating the small ones and their human friends. The time for mockery was over. The time for survival had begun. In the converted cargo hold of the human transport ship Silent Runner, Captain Tom stood before a holographic display of the battlefield. Beside him, Commander Anna pointed to the movements of the massive Dominion fleet. "They're pushing toward the Centauri sector," she said, "just as we predicted." The Silent Runner looked like a regular cargo vessel from the outside. Inside, it was filled with Valerian stealth ships and human strike craft. Similar converted ships were scattered throughout nearby asteroid fields, waiting. "All ships report ready," First Officer Mike announced from his station. "The Dominion still hasn't detected our presence." Tom's antenna twitched with anticipation. They're looking for large warships, capital ships, traditional fleet formations. No one expects a cargo ship to be dangerous. The Dominion fleet moved closer, their huge warships arranged in perfect attack formations. They had already destroyed 3 Council worlds this week alone. Their confidence was absolute. "Launch sequence initiating," Anna commanded. "Remember everyone, just like we practiced." From the Silent Runner and a dozen other cargo ships, small doors opened silently. Valerian stealth ships slipped out, each barely larger than a human shuttle. Behind them came modified human fighter craft, their engines muffled by new Valerian technology. "Strike Group Alpha in position," reported Mike. "Beginning Phase 1. The first wave of Valerian ships activated their new human-designed electromagnetic pulse weapons. The pulses were too weak to harm the massive Dominion ships, but they weren't meant to. Instead, they created a cloud of static that looked like natural interference on enemy scanners. "Strike Group Beta. Execute attack pattern Lightning," Anna ordered. Human fighters shot through the static cloud, their weapons modified with Valerian precision targeting. They struck the Dominion ships' sensor arrays, communication dishes, and external scanners. Not enough damage to cripple the ships, but enough to blind them. "They're responding exactly as expected," Tom noted, watching the Dominion ships turn ponderously, trying to target their attackers. "They're used to fighting big ships that can't hide. They don't know how to handle enemies they can barely see." The next phase began. Valerian ships, using their small size to advantage, slipped through the gaps in Dominion shields, gaps that would have been too small for regular warships. They attached tiny devices to the enemy hulls, devices that looked too insignificant to be a threat. "Penetration teams report success," Mike said. "All target ships marked." Anna nodded to Tom. "Your turn, Captain." Tom pressed a command on his console. The tiny devices activated, creating localized holes in the Dominion shields. Through these holes, human missiles struck with devastating accuracy. What looked like harmless cargo containers opened, revealing more Valerian ships that attacked from inside the enemy formation. "The Dominion fleet is breaking formation," Mike reported, his antenna quivering with excitement. "They're trying to retreat." But retreat was no longer possible. The supposedly empty space around them was filled with hidden ships. Every asteroid could be hiding a converted cargo vessel. Every piece of space debris could be a cloaked fighter. "All ships, execute final attack phase," Tom commanded. "Show them why size isn't everything." The combined human-Valerian fleet struck from all directions. Human ships provided covering fire, while Valerian vessels targeted critical systems. The Dominion's mighty warships, designed to fight traditional battles against large opponents, had no defense against this new kind of warfare. In the command center, Tom and Anna watched their plan unfold perfectly. The Council representatives who had taken refuge nearby observed in amazement as the once unstoppable Dominion fleet was torn apart by enemies they could barely detect. "Send word to all Alliance ships," Tom ordered. "The Centauri sector is secure. Begin preparation for the next phase." Anna smiled. "They laughed at your small ships once. They're not laughing now." "No," Tom agreed, watching another Dominion warship fall to their coordinated attack. "Now they're learning that true strength comes in all sizes, and some of the deadliest things in the universe are the ones you don't see coming." The battle continued, a dance of shadows and lightning, proving that innovation and cooperation could overcome any obstacle, even the mightiest enemy in known space. The Arcturus jump point was the key to everything. Whoever controlled it could move fleets across half the galaxy in minutes. Now, the largest Dominion fleet ever assembled waited there, preparing for their final push toward Earth and Valerian space. In the command center of the newly completed space station, Unity, Captain Tom and Commander Anna studied the tactical display. Around them, human and Valerian officers worked at their stations, coordinating the largest joint fleet in history. They have over 2,000 ships, Mike reported, his antenna moving rapidly as he processed the sensor data. They're pulling everything they have for this attack. Because they know they're losing, Anna said, checking the status of their hidden forces. We've destroyed too many of their fleets. They need to end this now. Tom nodded. Then let's show them our final surprise. He opened a channel to all Alliance ships. All units, Operation Starfall is now active. May the stars watch over us all. The Unity station's massive hangar doors opened. But instead of traditional warships, thousands of small objects poured out into space. Each was no bigger than a human escape pod. A drone swarm launching, announced the control officer. All units showing green status. These were the masterpiece of human-Valerian cooperation. Drones with human combat AI merged with Valerian miniaturization technology. Each one was nearly impossible to hit, yet packed enough firepower to damage a capital ship. The Dominion fleet detected the launch. Their massive ships turned, weapons charging, ready to obliterate any attack. But their sensors couldn't lock onto the tiny drones effectively. First wave, engage, Tom ordered. The drone swarm split into hundreds of smaller groups. They darted between the Dominion ships like schools of fish, their advanced AI allowing them to move in perfect coordination. Where traditional ships would have been easy targets, the drones were too small and too fast. They're trying to adapt, Mike reported as the Dominion ships fired wildly at the swarm. But their weapons are designed to track large targets. They're barely hitting anything. The drones struck back. Each one carried a scaled-down version of the weapons that had worked so well in previous battles. They found the weak points in Dominion shields, the gaps in their armor, the vulnerable sensor arrays and weapon ports. Second phase, begin, Anna commanded. From hiding spots throughout the nearby asteroid field, the main Alliance fleet emerged. But this time, they weren't hiding. Human warships charged forward proudly, drawing enemy fire while protecting their smaller Valerian allies. The Valerian ships, in turn, darted ahead to clear a path through the enemy formation. On the Unity's main screen, they watched as a Dominion dreadnought tried to target a group of Valerian ships. The small vessels easily slipped through its firing arcs, while the AI drones swarmed around it, slowly taking it apart piece by piece. Look at their formation, Tom said, his antenna straightening with pride. They don't know whether to focus on the drones, the Valerian ships, or the human fleet. They can't adapt to fighting enemies of different sizes. The battle raged for hours. The Dominion fleet, for all its power, couldn't cope with attacks coming from every direction, at every scale. Their mighty warships fell one by one, defeated by the very things they had once mocked, small ships and human ingenuity. Enemy fleet is at 40% strength, Mike announced. They're beginning to retreat from the jump point. Not this time, Anna said firmly. She activated the final phase of their plan. More drone swarms emerged from hidden positions, cutting off the Dominion's escape routes. The Alliance fleet closed in from all sides. Send the message, Tom ordered. Let them know their choices. The communication went out in all frequencies. Surrender or be destroyed. The Dominion fleet, once proud and unstoppable, now found itself trapped by an enemy they had underestimated for too long. One by one, the Dominion ships powered down their weapons. The mighty warriors who had laughed at the small and the primitive now surrendered to an alliance that had proven size wasn't everything. Victory confirmed, Mike announced, his voice filled with emotion. The jump point is ours. Tom and Anna looked at each other, then at the scene of their triumph. The Unity Station's name had never felt more appropriate. Together, they had achieved what neither could have done alone. Send word to all Alliance worlds, Tom said quietly. The war is over. We've won. Around them, humans and Valerians celebrated together, no one caring about physical differences anymore. They had proved that true strength comes not from size or brute force, but from unity, innovation, and the courage to see beyond appearances. 1 year after the Battle of Arcturus Jump Point, Captain Tom once again stood before the Galactic Council. This time, Commander Anna stood beside him, both of them wearing the new joint medals of the Human-Valerian Alliance. The council chamber, rebuilt after the war, was different now. No one was laughing. The Alliance fleet reports all former Dominion space has been secured, Tom announced, his antenna held high with pride. The last of their holdout forces surrendered 3 days ago. The council leader, a new one chosen after the war, leaned forward respectfully. And what does the Alliance recommend for the defense of council space going forward? Tom glanced at Anna, who nodded encouragingly. We propose a complete reorganization of our combined defense forces. The old way of thinking, that bigger is always better, failed us. We need to embrace new strategies. The massive display behind them showed footage from their victories. Valerian ships darting through impossibly small gaps. Human vessels providing covering fire. I-drones swarming like stellar winds, small and large working in perfect harmony. The Alliance has developed new training protocols, Anna added. We can teach your forces how to work together, regardless of size or traditional combat doctrine. The Dominion proved that relying on brute force alone is a weakness. Mike, now promoted to captain of his own ship, operated the display. It showed the new defense platforms being built throughout Council space, a perfect blend of human durability and Valerian precision engineering. But more importantly, Tom continued, we need to change how we treat each other. This chamber once echoed with laughter at my people's size. That same prejudice made us blind to the Dominion threat until it was almost too late. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats, remembering their past behavior. The Krull representative, one of the few who had survived the war, spoke up. We were wrong, Captain Tom. Commander Anna. The Alliance proved that true strength comes in many forms. Anna smiled. That's why we're proposing a new structure for the Council itself. No more separation based on size or military power. Every species has something valuable to contribute. The display changed to show the new Council organization. Species that had once been dismissed as too small or too primitive now had equal voices. The focus was on what each race could contribute, not how physically imposing they were. The combined human-Valerian fleet will serve as the backbone of our new defense force, Tom explained. But we want all Council races to learn our methods. Together, we can create something stronger than any single species could achieve alone. The Council chamber, once a place of mockery and prejudice, filled with applause. Representatives from worlds that had once looked down on the Valerians now asked eagerly about joining the training programs. The Alliance Academy on Earth is already accepting students from 20 different worlds, Anna reported. They're learning that sometimes the smallest ship in the fleet can make the biggest difference. Tom looked around the chamber, remembering that day long ago when they had laughed at his warnings. Now those same faces looked at him with respect, even admiration. The Alliance's victory had done more than just defeat the Dominion. It had changed the very culture of galactic civilization. We have a saying on Earth, Anna told the Council. Judge not by appearance, but by actions. The Alliance proved that wisdom in battle. Now let's prove it in peace. The Council voted unanimously to accept all the Alliance's proposals. As Tom and Anna left the chamber together, they passed a group of new Council representatives, some tall, some small, some hardly visible to the naked eye. All were talking together as equals. They're not laughing anymore, Mike observed, joining them in the corridor. No, Tom agreed, his antenna moving gently with satisfaction. Now they're learning. And so are we. Anna looked out the chamber's vast windows at the combined fleet stationed outside. Human ships and Valerian vessels flew in formation, their different sizes complementing each other perfectly. That's the real victory, isn't it? Not just defeating the Dominion, but changing how people think. Tom nodded. The laughter was gone, replaced by something far more valuable: respect. The Human-Valerian alliance had proved that true strength wasn't about size or power. It was about finding the right allies and believing in each other when no one else would. In the end, that was worth more than all the victories in space.